What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you all are having a great day. If you're not already a subscriber, make sure you do subscribe now, as this is the #1 channel on the platform for Yankees content. So for today's video, I want to talk about one of the most polarizing players in baseball, and that is a guy you all call fat and lazy constantly for no reason, Gary Sanchez. So the reason I wanted to sit down and talk about Gary is because I feel like as a fan base, we were all very divided on how we feel about him. You either love him or you hate him. There doesn't really seem to be any in between. Now, as you guys are well aware, I am a fan of Gary Sanchez. I believe he is tremendously talented, but at the same time, I can understand why he receives a hefty amount of criticism. But before we get into all that, let me go over how we got here, and it starts in 2009. That July, the Yankees signed the then 16-year-old Gary Sanchez as an international free agent, giving him a signing bonus of $3 million. He would see consistent time in the minor leagues into the 2016 season, despite making his MLB debut actually in the last week during 2015. He was actually even placed on the Yankees roster for the wildcard game against the Houston Astros, that year's catching depth. However, he wouldn't be named their starting catcher until August of 2016, and he would never look back. Gary took baseball by storm, hitting 20 home runs in just 53 big league games, hitting .299 while slugging an insane .657 as a rookie. And not only that, Sanchez was also actually a plus defender that year at the catching position, which was real promising to see, as his bat was never the question, it was his defense. Despite playing just 53 games, Gary placed second in the American League Rookie of the Year voting that year behind Michael Fulmer of the Tigers. Even though he didn't win the award, there was a lot of hype around him heading into the 2017 season. And keep in mind, guys, this was before Aaron Judge was the face of the franchise. In fact, Judge had quite the opposite experience in his first cup of coffee in the big leagues, as he hit just .184 and dealt with an oblique injury. Gary was looked at as a possible cornerstone of this franchise moving forward. Now, fast forward to 2017, Gary was forced to miss about a month due to a shoulder strain, but once he returned, he was fantastic offensively. In 122 games, Gary hit 33 homers and drove in 90 runs in his first full season as a Yankees backstop. He posted a 4.3 F4 as a 24-year-old and came up with some real clutch hits in the postseason. Things were really looking up. His defense, though, did take a hit as he had a league worst 16 passed balls. This led to a small disagreement in Cleveland with then manager Joe Girardi, and many suspect this little feud led Joe Girardi to not being re-signed after the 2017 season. Then, come 2018, things changed. Gary was still hitting for power, but a bunch of injuries derailed his season as he hit a mere .186 in just 89 games. To make matters worse, Gary had even more pass balls with 18 in 2018, despite playing less games. That's when the Gary haters fully emerged. It seemed as if a lot of fans didn't understand the concept of an injury-plagued year and were ignoring his clear talents and skills he had shown for years at this point. Yes, his defense was not good, but the Yankees are smart enough to know that having a productive bat at the catcher position is such a rarity that it's worth trying to work out things with his defense. Now, come 2019, Gary needed to prove the haters wrong, and he did. He seemed to be back on track. Through June 21st, Gary was hitting .274 with a .340 on base while slugging a stupid .642, smashing 23 home runs through his first 56 games. He was simply fantastic. However, the rest of the season, Gary dealt with numerous injuries, leading him to hit under 200 the rest of the way. In 106 games, he still put together a nice season, though, especially as a catcher, as he finished with 34 home runs and a .116 weighted runs created plus. However, he struggled mightily in the postseason, looking lost at the plate, but did hit one home run in the ALCS against Houston. Moral of the story is that Gary has definitely been inconsistent throughout his time with the Yankees, but a large part of that can be blamed on injuries. He still holds a world's worth of talent, and you guys should not ignore that. He's entering his age 27 season, which means he should be just now entering his prime. I'm predicting another yet more consistent big offensive season for Gary in 2020, as long as he can remain healthy, and that certainly is a big if. Alright, so as always, I like to feature 3 comments from my community posts on the topic so I can get your guys' voices involved. So the question I posed to you guys was this: how do you feel about Gary Sanchez after the 2019 season and heading into 2020? Starting us off, we have JAX ZANDER. He writes, I feel like he could have been a little better behind the plate, as well as contributing in big situations. But overall, I'm not as discouraged as I thought I'd be. P.S. What are your thoughts on the Houston scandal? Well, Jax, I did make a video on that. I'll put that down in the description for you to see. I probably will make another one at some point once it comes out what their penalty is going to be. But yeah, as for Gary Sanchez, Jax writes that he could have been better behind the plate. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he did show improvements in 2019 coming off a bad 2018 defensively. The only thing is his framing took a hit. Now, I don't put too much stock in that stat, the stat that measures how good a catcher is at framing. I'm not too sure if I want to put that much value in it. That technically did take a hit for Gary analytically. But yeah, I think he was much better at blocking balls. He did have some rough moments in the postseason, but I feel like a lot of them could have been attributed to the pitcher more so than Gary Sanchez. But yeah, I think he's going to keep improving, and hopefully he's a good all-around player in 2020. Question number 2, or comment number 2, One New Life writes, I think John Smoltz says it best. His upside far outweighs the downside of his defense, and considering he has a rocket for an arm, I say let the kid play. I think that's a really good point by John Smoltz, one of the few good points that he's made. And I think that's the Yankees' mindset, and that's what your guys' mindset should be with Gary Sanchez this entire time. The upside far outweighs the downside, and Gary Sanchez is a very, very good asset at the catching position because he hits for power. He actually is a good hitter. That is rare at the catcher position. Yeah, his defense isn't great. Hopefully he's going to improve on that and become an all-around player like I said before, but you cannot ignore his offensive capability. Moving on, Nolan Russell writes for the final comment, Gary Sanchez has been a hot hitter all season. In my opinion, it was the injuries that threw him off at the end of the season. He was doing fine up until he got hurt again. We need him on the team. That's a big difference maker right there. Most powerful catcher in the game. Yeah, Nolan, I think you definitely bring up a good point, and I feel like a lot of people definitely do get on Gary a little bit too much for his performance in the postseason. Keep in mind, guys, this guy came off the IL literally, 2 days before the postseason began. He was coming in cold, injured. It was not a good situation for Gary heading into October, so I'll give him some slack in that department. Now, I really do want to see him put together a more full season in 2020. Obviously, we have yet to see actually a full healthy season by Gary Sanchez. The most games he played would be 2017, where he played 122. But yeah, hopefully he can stay healthy, and I really am expecting a big year and hopefully more consistent year out of Gary Sanchez. Alright, so that's going to be all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for sending in your thoughts. If you don't already, make sure you follow me on social media at Dan Allen Rourke on Twitter and on Instagram at Yankees Avenue on Instagram, NYY Home Runs, NYY Video. All that will be down in the description below. Make sure you check out my website, rourkemedia.com. Yes, so be tuned for more videos, and hopefully Yankees make a move soon. And I'll see you guys next time. Let's go, Yankees.
Her body's gold like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we try forgetting, I remember. But we say we all fine, we all fine. Sunny day dreams and we up now. Vodka lemonade, I serve it up, it goes